A teacher who's more than 100 schoolmasters, a guide who has directed me to all the roads that lead to abundance and protected me from the paths that lead to demise. A friend who has always lent me his firm shoulders to cry. A disciplinarian who reprimands me on wasting time but rewards me on meeting my commitments. A protector who has bubble wrapped me from all the chaotic and catastrophic possibilities of life. A pamperer who has spoilt me rotten with all the good things in life. Most importantly, a gentleman who has given me the greatest gift of my life by loving my mother unconditionally. Happy Father's Day, Baba. Since Mother's Day still continues to get the lion's share of attention, let's dedicate a day to celebrate our silent caregivers who do more than you see, feel more than they show, and love more than you'll ever know. So, friends, allow me to share with you some fond memories that I have with this magnanimous human that I have the privilege of calling Baba. The very first instance that comes to mind was when I was in second standard, a young girl whose art teacher overly overestimated her to be able to stitch a heart-shaped pillow for Valentine's Day where she could barely even draw a perfect heart or even color one. My dad came back home quite late that night, I think at around 10 pm. My parents would do 18-hour shifts those days in order to establish their newly found enterprise. When my dad heard about my teacher's unreasonable expectation and saw me on the verge of giving up, he immediately rushed me to the nearby stationery store just when it started raining cats and dogs. It was just not our day. So it became even bigger a challenge to be able to scout for cotton wools and red velvet papers for making those heart-shaped pillows at that late hour of night. Nevertheless, we returned home with some rays of hope in our hands, and luckily for me, my father knew how to stitch, which he learned from his late mother, whereas my mother could barely even thread a needle. I felt really sorry looking at his condition. He looked so tired, so I asked him to let it be. But he just couldn't bear the thought of me getting punished in school the next day. So as my personal Ralph Lauren stayed up all night to stitch me the perfect heart-shaped pillow, he also left me with a very important life lesson to ponder upon: the virtue of self-respect. To always keep your head held high and never accept defeat until you fulfilled your commitments, or at least tried your level best to fulfill them. The commitments that you make to yourself, as well as the ones that you make to others around you. The second instance that immediately pops to mind is when I was in middle school. I had 104.5 degree body temperature. Had never been victim to such gut-wrenching flu my entire life. Was already 4 croissants down with my head feeling heavier than my body weight and my entire body throbbing with muscle pain. The doctor told my father that the situation was pretty scary and there were only 2 remedies remaining: either admit me to a nearby hospital immediately or nurse me with lukewarm compresses for as long as it takes to bring my body temperature down. I kid you not, my father pulled out an all-nighter, nursing my head with moist towel baths until my temperature dropped to 102 degrees the next morning. And that taught me my second life lesson: the virtue of unconditional, pure love. The kind of love that knows no boundaries, that sets no limits, and that takes no for an answer. I'm not talking about obsessive love, but the kind of love that can heal any amount of sorrow, misery, or insecurity. And as we are on the topic of love, I can't help but recall those frequent one-to-one conferences that I've had with my dad as a young girl, and even now as a young lady, wherein I bitch to him about all the people who've let me down. Be it the school teachers who summoned me to the principal's room, and I thought that was pretty unnecessary, or all the relatives who got something to say about my life choices, the friends, or even my family members. He always lends me a patient ear, never complains to me about how tiny my problems sound as compared to his, and most importantly, is always available for me. Available in quotes. And even if he weren't beside me physically, he was always only just a phone call away. And that made me feel like I have a solid friend in him. Someone who never gets bored of my constant rants, who never makes me feel like my problems are insignificant, and most importantly, who boosts my ego. At least when I'm feeling sad. And this, my friends, brings me to my next life lesson. That the most important gift that you could ever give to someone who really matters is time. And a patient ear. And a bear hug. Parents, being our former caregivers, bear a huge impact on the child's mind. And so when they make themselves available for the child grows up feeling happy and confident, not needing frivolous company to feel important, and fully believing that they are not alone in this big bad world, that their producers are there to catch them when they fall. Weird I say producers, creators, okay fine, parents. I was tired of saying parents so many times. The main thing is they will never fail to catch us when we fall. Speaking of failing, I remember how I'd get the chills of my life before my maths examinations. Because I grew up with this mental block believing maybe I'll never be good at maths, and hence I hated maths. And I thought that maybe the society will pass me off as a dumb head just because I'm not good at maths, since we had that archaic mentality when I was little. And that hurt me since I was a terrific student otherwise. My fear and hatred for the subject got the best of me right before my board examinations. Yes, I'm talking about those overly hyped examinations that our parents believed would change the destiny of our life, but actually it doesn't change anything. It's a farce. I couldn't bear the thought of my life going to the dogs because of maths. And that's when my father caught my hand once again. He made me unlearn the subject. He made me realize that I'm fully capable of scoring 100 out of 100. I didn't believe him back then. If I stop mugging and start believing in my brains. That was quite tough. It took him quite a while to remove my mental blocks, where I no longer need to hold his hand before solving an equation. Yes, that's right. Math scared me much more than the thought of getting infected by coronavirus and dying. Okay, to cut the story short, after months and months of relentless hard work and solving sums every day, I finally fulfilled my dad's vision of me scoring a perfect 100 or maybe a 99 in boards. And I know that because my overall CGPA was 9.8, which was only possible if I would have scored a 99 or 100 in maths. So yeah, it's quite unbelievable, especially for a girl who would not get more than 50 or 70 on a lucky day in maths. And it was definitely a defining milestone of my life, where I actually believed that impossible is nothing and the mind can achieve whatever it can think. And that, my friends, brings me to the last life lesson for this video, not from dad. For that I would have to create an entire series because he has too many life lessons. Actually, he's a living institution for me. There's so much to learn from this great magnanimous human being, really. Anyway, coming back to the point, one of the most difficult but the most rewarding things to do in life is to step outside of your comfort zone. Ever since my board examination experience, I have very sincerely tried to always challenge myself and step outside of my comfort zone. Be it wanting to become an actor or a YouTuber or to pursue any of my future dreams. You will face rejections, feel embarrassed, get disappointed, feel like giving up. But if you continue to persevere and if you make it work, nothing in the world will give you the same amount of satisfaction. And I promise you that. So thank you, Baba, for these priceless life lessons. Thank you for holding my hand till I was little and my heart till I die. Actually, he still holds my hand when there is heavy traffic on the roads to cross the road. Whatever. The point here is, please gift your dad some time today and not just an expensive tie or a weird coffee mug that reads, "The best dad in the world." You know what I mean? Write him a card expressing some of the things that you absolutely love and admire about him. Nothing mushy, but just let him know how much he means to you and what an important part of your life he is. So just let him know that you forgive him for all the expectations that he couldn't fulfill of yours, and that you cherish all the times that he's just been there, whether to change your diapers when you'd wet your pants at night, I'm talking about when you were a kid, or to save your ass from your mom's flying slippers every time you do something naughty, to stand up for you every time the society questions your life choices, to protect you from all the men and women in your life who've ever tried to break your heart, and most importantly, to believe in you when you didn't believe in yourself. So thank you to all the wonderful men in my life, and happy Father's Day to my father and to all the wonderful fathers out there. You people are doing a brilliant job. Thank you for loving us, caring for us, and just being there without showing too much of emotions outwardly. We understand you.